In the book of Genesis, imagine you're 17 years old, walking alone across the hills of Canaan, looking for your brothers. Instead of welcoming you, they stop and stare. Their faces are cold, their whispers grow louder. Then someone says, "Here comes that dreamer." In an instant, they surround you. Your father's beautiful robe is ripped from your shoulders. You're thrown into a deep, empty pit. You scream for help, but no one comes. Moments later, your own brothers pull you out, not to save you, but to sell you for 20 pieces of silver. One moment, you were the favored son. The next, you were a slave on the road to Egypt. It sounds like the beginning of an epic movie, but it's actually one of the most extraordinary true stories in the Bible. This is the story of Joseph. Long before Joseph was born, God made a promise. He called a man named Abraham and declared that through his descendants, a great nation would rise. That promise passed to Abraham's son, Isaac, and then to Isaac's son, Jacob. After wrestling with God through the night, Jacob received a new name, Israel. From him would come 12 sons, the men who would one day become the 12 tribes of Israel. But before they became the fathers of a nation, they were simply a family. Jacob had 12 sons, but one woman held a very special place in his heart, Rachel. For many years, Rachel was unable to have children. Year after year, she waited, she prayed, she hoped, and she wept. Then, after years of waiting, God answered her prayer. She named him Joseph. Joseph wasn't just another son, he was the child Jacob had waited many years for. And Jacob loved Joseph more than all his other sons. As Joseph grew older, he worked alongside his brothers, tending his father's flocks. Joseph was different. He wasn't perfect, but he desired to do what was right. One day, Joseph brought a bad report about his brothers back to his father. The Bible never says Joseph lied. It simply tells us he reported what he saw. But honesty doesn't always make you popular. Quietly, almost unnoticed, resentment began taking root. If jealousy had been quietly growing, it was about to become impossible to hide. One day, Jacob presented Joseph with a special gift, a beautifully crafted robe. Unlike the simple garments worn by shepherds, this robe was finely made, long, and richly ornamented. It wasn't meant for hard labor. It was a symbol, a public declaration that Joseph held a special place in his father's heart. Every time Joseph wore it, his brothers were reminded that their father loved him differently. Genesis tells us, when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, they hated him and could not speak peacefully to him. Their resentment was no longer hidden. Even ordinary conversations became impossible. Then Joseph had a dream. In the dream, he and his brothers were binding sheaves of grain in a field. Suddenly, Joseph's sheaf stood upright. One by one, the sheaves belonging to his brothers gathered around it and bowed down. Joseph told his brothers what he had seen. They didn't celebrate. They didn't wonder if God was speaking. Instead, they answered with outrage, "Do you intend to reign over us? Will you actually rule us?" From that moment, the Bible says, they hated him all the more because of his dream. Soon afterward, Joseph dreamed again. This time, the vision reached beyond the fields. He saw the sun, the moon, and 11 stars. All of them bowed before him. This dream was so astonishing that Joseph shared it, not only with his brothers, but with his father as well. Jacob immediately rebuked him. "What is this dream you have had? Will your mother, your brothers, and I actually come and bow down before you?" Yet, after speaking those words, Jacob did something unexpected. While Joseph's brothers burned with jealousy, Jacob quietly kept the dream in mind. He didn't understand it, but neither did he dismiss it. Somewhere, deep inside, he wondered if God might be revealing something that none of them could yet comprehend. Joseph couldn't see the future. He didn't know where these dreams would lead. He had no idea that the road ahead would take him far from home through betrayal, slavery, false accusations, and prison. God had revealed the destination, but not the journey. Had Joseph seen everything that lay between the dream and its fulfillment, he may never have believed he could endure it. But God often works that way. He shows us enough to trust him while asking us to walk the rest by faith. As Joseph treasured those mysterious dreams, his brothers saw only arrogance. Their anger deepened, their jealousy grew, and before long, the opportunity they had been waiting for would finally come. The tension inside Jacob's family had been building for years. Soon, it would finally break. One morning, Joseph's older brothers led the family flocks north to graze near Shechem. Days passed, but no word came back. Concerned for both his sons and the animals, Jacob called for Joseph. "Go and see if all is well with your brothers and the flocks. Then come back and tell me." Without hesitation, Joseph obeyed. He left the valley of Hebron and began the long journey north, alone. Mile after mile, he crossed rocky hills, dry valleys, and open countryside. never imagining this would be the last time he would walk those familiar paths as a free man. When Joseph finally arrived at Shechem, the fields were empty. His brothers were nowhere to be found. As he searched, a man noticed him wandering through the countryside. "What are you looking for?" he asked. Joseph replied, "I'm looking for my brothers. Can you tell me where they're grazing their flocks?" The man pointed farther north. "They've moved on to Dothan." So Joseph continued his journey, step after step, drawing closer to a fate he could never have imagined. Across the open plains of Dothan, the brothers spotted a lone figure in the distance. Even before they could recognize his face, they recognized the robe their father had given him, the robe they had come to hate. As Joseph drew nearer, the brothers began whispering among themselves. Their resentment, years in the making, finally erupted. "Here comes that dreamer. Come now, let's kill him. We'll throw him into one of these cisterns and say a wild animal devoured him." Then, with bitter sarcasm, they said, "Then we'll see what becomes of his dreams." They believed that if they could destroy the dreamer, they could destroy God's plan, but what they didn't know was that no one can undo what God has already set in motion. One brother, however, could not remain silent. Reuben, the oldest among them. He stepped forward and pleaded, "Let's not take his life." Instead, he suggested throwing Joseph into a nearby empty cistern secretly. Reuben intended to return later, rescue Joseph, and bring him safely home to their father. Moments later, Joseph arrived. Perhaps he expected a greeting. Perhaps he expected nothing more than another ordinary day with his brothers. Instead, they rushed toward him. Hands grabbed his arms. They tore the beautiful robe from his shoulders, the very symbol of everything they despised. Then they dragged him toward the mouth of a deep cistern, dark, empty. Joseph struggled. He pleaded with them. He begged his own brothers for mercy. But their hearts had already grown hard. Without another word, they threw him into the pit. Joseph crashed against the rough stone walls before landing at the bottom. Above him, only a small circle of blue sky remained. His brothers looked down, not with compassion, but with cold determination. Years later, when guilt finally caught up with them, the brothers would remember this very moment. They would confess, "We saw his anguish when he pleaded with us, but we would not listen." His cries echoed from the darkness, yet no one reached down to save him. Alone in the darkness, Joseph waited, hoping that one of his brothers would return, that someone would show mercy. But no one came. Then Genesis records one of the most chilling moments in the entire story. They sat down to eat a meal while Joseph cried out from the pit. His brothers shared a meal together as if nothing had happened. The betrayal was complete. As they ate, movement appeared on the horizon. A caravan of merchants slowly crossed the plains toward Dothan. They were traveling south on the ancient trade route to Egypt. As the caravan drew nearer, Judah looked at his brothers. Then he asked, "What will we gain if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? Come, let's sell him to the Ishmaelites. After all, he is our brother, our own flesh." and blood. It sounded merciful, but it wasn't mercy. Instead of taking Joseph's life, they chose to sell it. The brothers pulled Joseph out of the pit. For a brief moment, perhaps he believed they had changed their minds. Perhaps he thought he was finally going home. Instead, they handed him over to strangers. 20 pieces of silver. That was the price, the value placed on the life of a 17-year-old boy by his own brothers. The merchants bound Joseph and led him away. Step by step, the hills of Canaan disappeared behind him. His home, his father, and everything familiar faded into the distance. Joseph couldn't see what lay ahead. He knew nothing of Potiphar, nothing of prison, nothing of Pharaoh. To him, this was the end, but God was only beginning to unfold his plan. Sometime later, Reuben returned to the pit. He looked inside, and his heart sank. Joseph was gone, tearing his clothes in grief. He cried, "The boy isn't there. Where can I turn now?" But the decision had already been made. There would be no rescue, no journey home, only one final lie. The brothers slaughtered a young goat. They dipped Joseph's richly ornamented robe into its blood until every thread was stained red. Then they carried it back to their father, standing before Jacob, and they simply said, "We found this. Examine it to see whether it is your son's robe." They never said Joseph was dead. They allowed their father to reach that heartbreaking conclusion himself. The moment Jacob saw the robe, he recognized it. His face fell, his voice trembled. "It is my son's robe. A ferocious animal has devoured him. Joseph has surely been torn to pieces." Overcome with grief, Jacob tore his clothes. He put on sackcloth and mourned for his son. Day after day, his family tried to comfort him, but he refused. The pain was simply too great. While Jacob wept in Canaan, Joseph continued his journey toward Egypt, bound to a caravan, surrounded by strangers, carrying nothing except the dreams God had given him. Joseph believed he had lost everything. His freedom, his family, his future. But even in chains, God's purpose had not changed. Sometimes the road to God's promise begins in places we would never choose. Cliffhanger. In the next episode, Joseph arrives in Egypt as a slave, purchased by one of Pharaoh's most trusted officials, far from home and surrounded by a foreign culture. He will face temptation, false accusations, and a prison cell he never deserved. Yet through every trial, God will continue, preparing Joseph for a destiny greater than anyone could imagine.